Lockpick said, "You are the side meat." Last time I was the side meat, I had to get out of town before the mains decided we needed to talk. He was a little bigger than me. No, actually, the last time I was the side meat. For those of you on YouTube who are watching this, Lockpick said just put in a duck noise. That's what those duck noises were in aid of. The sound of duck fun. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly presents. And this is a special edition. We're calling Religidiotry. Religidiotry. Yes, that's how we pronounce it. Welcome, friends, to this special edition we're calling Religidiotry. First off, welcome back. I am your host, Trevor Stewart 1308, and this is being pre-recorded live on Twitch in front of a home Twitch audience. And we would like to remind you that this is not a news show, and this is not a news show, and I am not a journalist. All of the views expressed herein are 100% correct and verifiable as opinions. First up, I would like to say that we will not be having a live stream tomorrow on Sunday because it is something that Christians call Easter. Easter. Ostero was like last week. Oh no, I'm being told that Easter is a celebration of the return of Jesus to the living. You mean Zombie Jesus Day? Okay? We will not be filming tomorrow because of Christian Zombie Jesus Day. And now we'd like to move on to a couple of stories that have been percolating since December of 2023. Also, I'd like to say I am reading this entire script blind. I have not seen this before, so wish me luck for this live broadcast. And another Death Kitty just fell off my lap and used claws. And another special thank you to our ASOC prod and writer, no longer co-writer, but just head writer, Kat. Thank you again, Kat. So, first up, from MSN.com, Attorney General calls out Biden administration plan that would effectively ban Christians from fostering children. From the article, agencies are to review requirements for children in foster care who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning intersex, as well as children who are non-binary or have non-conforming gender identity or expression, all of whom are referred to under the umbrella term LGBTQIA+ for purposes of this regulation. End quote, end quote. The proposed rule would require foster families to acknowledge and stick to a child's chosen gender identity, and, quote, Republican attorneys general have criticized the proposal, arguing it violates religious freedom and would harm the foster care system. Unquote. ASOC Prod note, as someone who does view the world through a predominantly Christian framework, if a family is unable to foster a child and support their social, emotional, mental, and physical growth and well-being, then they do not need to foster that particular child. If someone is professing to be a faithful Christian, then they should be following the example of Jesus and meeting others where they are, rather than the rhetoric of false leaders. As a non-Christian, I personally agree with the ASOC Prod note. Moving on to something from the Roy's Report. Warren Throckmorton takes on David Barton and Christian nationalist revisionist history. Interesting, dude. Actually reviewed and listened to the science about sexual orientation, stopped promoting reparative therapy because he believes trying to change someone's orientation is wrong, and has spent the last several years being a thorn in the side of Christian history revisionists, among other things. The rabbit hole is deep and twisty on this one. Well, that does sound like a fun article. Next up, from GB News, Christians fume after release of woke Pride Bible as followers accused of picking and choosing teachings. So, it was okay for translators to determine the most felicitous turn of phrase just to make the King of England look good and prevent other translations from gaining readership, but not to remove, quote, Anglo-Saxon words such as sin and hell, which are not Hebrew or Greek words. Given that there are over 150 different versions of the Bible, and that is well known that over time many translations errors have crept in, both actual errors and those committed in the name of one set of politics or another. This is far less egregious than removing entire phrases for style's sake. And we are now at the time in the show where we would like to bring you a word from our advertisers. Oh, this is still last week's ad read. But it's still difficult to say. Growassolarite, garnet, chrysophrase, prehnite, vesuvianite. I did better with that last week. Or 2 weeks ago. 2 or 4 weeks ago. I did better with that a while ago. Well, we would like to go ahead and take a moment to thank, again, our ASOC prod and the writer, head writer at Weekly Broken News and Saturday Evenings Posted mostly. Our dear friend Kat, without whom all of this would not be possible. And I would still be standing back there with an awkward clipboard and notebook in my hand. It was not a good look. We would also like to thank our correspondents, our UK correspondent. Who's that girl? It's Jess. Here on Twitch, or over there on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. And our Canadian correspondent from Canada, Robbie Nova. Again, here on Twitch, or over there on Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. We would also like to thank our Discord manager, Marina Ion, over at Human Tech Art. And we will be contracting her shortly to set up the Discord. Uh-oh. I do believe I see edits in process to the script. It's not that important, but FD Signifier is not impressed with Kendrick's Big 3 diss verse. Something. I'll check it out later when I get back on YouTube. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, every time when I'm in the middle of a newsread and I see your little pink circle pop up on the script, I start worrying. Back to what we were doing, because I might have ADD. Ooh, shiny squirrel. We were thanking Marina Ion, who will also be helping with our Discord setup. I am told that I have 1 week to get the Discord set up, or not our Discord setup, our Twitch setup. I have to have the Twitch set up and ready, because next Sunday, show up, have your seat ready, but you'll only need the edge, because next Sunday, speaking of shark music, dun, 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 I have to eat the lutefisk, the shark. I can't put it off any longer, and I really am not looking forward to this. Fermented shark. Fermented rotten shark. Not just like, fermented like kimchi is fermented. No, like fermented rotten shark. I'm going to do something to it to make it edible. I'm going to try so hard. Breadcrumbs and cheese or something. I'm going to cover it with something. Well, let us move on now and shout out some dear friends here on Twitch. Or over there on Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. Jeffy Millimeter, D Angela, D-E-E-E-E Angela, Send Noodles, Moosies, Busy Bell, Metamorpheus, Sleepy Scrubs, Evie something, Kiwi 007, Bex Bexy, Baby Groot, Shende 20, Ghoulish Cutie, DJ Lockpick, and the whole Sunday No Pants Raid Train. Retro Future Now, DJ Loomy 242, DJ Jadzia Dax, our dear friend Master Rasta 420, and the amazing Wasabi. And I think we will have a few more to add to that list soon. Because it occurs to me that there are a few people that I'm leaving out at this point that I should probably be shouting out. Appy Juice, for one. Anyway, I'd also like to... Kat says about the eating the lutefisk. Set it on fire and eat a peep while it burns. I'd like to, but I won't. I will do something. Although on tomorrow on YouTube, I will have a Peeps Brulee short, and I may even do a quick episode of Gastrophilia, where I try... Kat says at least it isn't another spicy challenge. True. Where I try the new Peeps of the season. I will be bruleeing a chocolate-covered Peep and a Dr. Pepper Peep. And I might have another one that I grabbed. So I might do it as a short if I can stuff it all into 60 seconds. But I also might do it as a 5-minute video or a 2-minute video. So we'll see. So now I would like to shout out some YouTube friends as well, some people who are our dear channel friends over there. The music producer Pan's Delight and the music producer Paula Haunt, who recently dropped a new album over on SoundCloud. I'm going to have to chase down that link. But yes, Pan's Delight and Paula Haunt, as well as our friend Alec Bonkers, or Alec at this point, a visual artist and writer, Mango Pudding on Wattpad, and our friend Lucy 2001, who is a talented young actress from off the coast of Scotland. John Lewis, spelled Jawn, who is a video essayist and dropper of truth and with a brilliant and sly sense of humor. And finally, we would like to thank our friends on other platforms, starting with our dear friend Oshay of Oshay's Beautiful Things. Go and check out some of her beautiful things over at Oshay's Beautiful Things. And our dear friend and North Yorkshire's own Jennifer Weston, artist extraordinary and lifelong friend of mine. And our ASOC prod wishes to give a shout out to at Fritz Fishing on TikTok. 12.8K followers and counting. Congratulations at Fritz Fishing. 12.8K is nothing to sneeze at. We would also like to shout out our creators, our friends who are creators with merch sites, which will also be being expanded. First off, Who's That Girl with store.streamelements.com/Who's That Girl, Dassen __ at store.streamelements.com/Dassen __ Akika Calde at streamlabs.com/Akika Calde/merch. Our friend, the inimitable Jeffy Millimeter, who has had to end his project, Emerald, and will be finding another place for that to settle in. But we will keep you updated on the Millimeter merch situation, because, wow, we need our Millimeter Mega merch. Oshays Beautiful Things at OshaysBeautifulThings.com. DJ Lockpick with No Pants Sunday Raid Train swag over at store.streamelements.com/lockpick, which is spelled LOKPIQUE, as in lock. That piques my interest. And Retro Future Now at retrofuturenow-shop.fourthwall.com. We will be including these links in the description of the YouTube video. There does not appear to be any more chaos occurring in chat, which makes me wonder if Lockpick is okay. I haven't heard from him in a little while, so I hope he's alright. Hopefully we will hear from him tomorrow, because it is Sunday, and Sunday No Pants Raid Train. He is an important part of that. All right. And now for some more recent tidbits from the news. From Bear and Falanced Fox News. Christian politician vindicated after having life torn apart for anti-pride post. An exclamation! Twitter post chastising the sin of having pride caused some backlash. Quote, a Christian politician in the United Kingdom has been vindicated after allegations of homophobia led him to being suspended from his own local Conservative Party and being cancelled by several different organizations. Lawal was suspended and subject to a 4-month-long investigation after complaints were raised against him. He was even reportedly warned of a potential police investigation into the matter. Lawal was also forced to resign from his own business or face losing substantial contract. losing a substantial contract. Quote, "That's when I was very, very concerned because I didn't expect it to affect my own business," he said. Yep, he didn't expect something he said on social media to affect his own business. That's why, if you want to find out what horrible things I'm actually willing to say, you're going to have to see me when I do live stand-up. Sometime in the distinct future. It will not be videoed. It will not be put on YouTube. Will be announced later. Sometime. Much like Bodo's coming soon. Next up from Roy's report, pastor whose essay comments sparked national outrage apologizes. The sermon was bad. Really, really bad. And the comments made it equally horrible. Now, the sermon that sparked the outrage happened last fall. It took a couple of months and local protest or threat of protest for the outrage to mount to levels where the individual issued an apology. Quote, "People in the pastor's community saw Leonard's statement on social media, and on Wednesday evening, Jason King, a truck driver from nearby Wadesboro, North Carolina, not to be confused with Waynesboro, Virginia, organized a small protest of half a dozen people outside the church during a midweek service the next day, the church posted an apology on its marquee saying, 'I am sorry for any hurt. I was wrong, Pastor Leonard.'" Although that does sort of sound like it could happen in Waynesboro, too. WBTV News Charlotte picked up the story and included a report in its Thursday newscast. In the report, King said he planned a larger protest on Sunday, and he called on Pastor Leonard to issue a public verbal apology, end quote. But to add to that concern, there is a school affiliated with both the individual and the church. The school issued the following note regarding the events. Notifications to tcsmonroe.com. Quote, "I would like to assure the TCS/TLC parents that we are committed to providing a safe, nurturing, quality learning environment. Understandably, many of you have questioned our concerns. I will be happy to address each family's questions personally through the mode of your choice, telephone, email, or face-to-face. Please submit the form below, provide your name and number or email address, and I will contact you as soon as possible to facilitate the opportunity to address your concerns or clarify information. We covet your prayers, and may the Lord bless you all." End quote. We covet your prayers. Isn't that somewhere like, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's prayers"? Also, that whole last statement sounds like a rather convenient opportunity to bully people into coming back to church and donating more money. I'm moving right along before I say something really inflammatory. Something from a religious news service. 5 years after challenging miracle of holy fire, Greek journalist is acquitted. Teach you to ask questions, won't it? From the article. On Friday, Demetrius Alikakos, a Greek journalist, walked out of court in Athens without the shadow of prosecution for the first time in almost half a decade. His alleged crime? Debunking miracles. Alikakos had been in a legal battle with the Jerusalem Patriarchate. Oh, what a horrible name. The Jerusalem Patriarchate, the headquarters of the Greek Orthodox Church in the Holy Land, and several of its priests since 2019, when he published a book challenging the miracle of the holy fire, the flames that emerged on Great Saturday, the day before Easter. That would be today, I suppose, at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus is said to have been resurrected. He challenges an eruption of fire the day before. He challenges the eruption of fire 2,024 years ago. Well, sort of less. But on the day before Easter, the day before zombie Jesus came back to the world as, Jesus the White instead of Jesus the Gray. Oh. I understand Gandalf now. That would be the light of a penny dropping. That would be the light bulb of an idea occurring. Oh, that just says so much. I'm going to move right along. Also from RNS, a feud over a coffee maker and Christmas decor leads to another Southern Baptist lawsuit. From the article, a feud between a Southwestern Baptist seminary and its former president appears to be headed for federal court. Lawyers of Adam Greenway, who resigned as president of Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in September of 2022, Hi, Wasabi. Yes, Death Kitty is quite a fluffy kitty. I don't believe the camera is picking up the fluff floating around the room. Oh, you had a Maine Coon, silver Maine Coon. They are some of the most beautiful cats ever. I think we need to take this brief break because this next story looks a little crazy. What was your late cat's name? Wasabi. Oh, She's just here because she knows that I'm streaming and she wants to make sure that I'm paying due attention to her too. Her name was Grace because she was gray. Aww. Well, I'll tell you, there are some good reasons we didn't name this one Grace. Because she certainly doesn't have any. You are not a graceful cat, are you? She just gave me the look of, I will eat your soul. There we go. Come mug for the camera. Come mug for the camera. Yes, you're getting ready to shred me, aren't you? Yes, you are. Lockpick! Hey! Wasabi said she's so relaxed letting you hold her like that. Oh, to be a cat. Lockpick says the cat is living the hard life. Happy Saturday, happy Catterday. Lockpick. We have picked up the Catterday call. Happy Catterday! And now I'm covered in Death Kitty fluff. And Deadpan is put out that he hasn't been getting all the attention recently. Lockpick says, every time I hold my cat on stream, she rains fur on my mixer. Yeah, oh yeah, my computer keyboard needs a good dusting every time. She's called Death Kitty. Wasabi asks, why Death Kitty? She's called Death Kitty, well, partially because his name is, his public-facing name is Deadpan Dog, so I needed something to stick with the theme. But also because she tries to murder those she loves. Her love is painful. You may notice that my hands often look like they've been run through a shredder, and I quite often am wearing Band-Aids. It's because she loves me very much, but her love is very sharp. Also, she disagrees on having to go back inside after we finish walkies in the mornings and evenings. She's usually quite insistent that inside is not where she wants to be, and usually attacks my hands and punishes them for the affront of having to go back inside. So, yeah, I felt Death Kitty fit. Lockpick says, can't let my cat out. Too many coyotes here. She is on a lead. When we let the animals out, I go out with them. We go out with them. She stays on a lead, on a leash, and he's allowed to run around the yard, but he's really not supposed to get out of the yard, and we keep an eye on him to make sure they don't. The coyotes here still seem to stay in the hills and closer to the river. Wasabi says she sounds like a delight. Cry emoji. She is, in her own way. Ow. She's a rescue kitten. She lived wild for a while before Jen rescued her and brought her home. So she still has a lot of the wild in her. She dislikes the lead, but she likes being outside more than she dislikes the lead. And that's how I've managed to convince her. I've talked to her about it. We have the conversation, and I'm like, I know you don't like this, but you've seen me do it to the dog often enough. You know that this is how you're going to be outside. If he's being really bad about running away, which is usually around this time of year, I look at my watch as if it has any relevance to that. But around this time of year, he gets very spring feverish and tries to run off. And we will put him on the lead, on his lead outside, so that he can get outside time without us having to be like right on him to make sure he's not running off. Lockpick says, the coyotes here literally run past the back of my fence a few times a day. Are you allowed to have a pellet gun? Because that would be my new sport. I don't hate coyotes per se, but I don't want them getting the idea that they're allowed around here, around my property. The reason I can't let her outside off the lead is because she will decimate the local wildlife population. She is just a little hunter and will take out all kinds of local birds. Wasabi asks, was she a kitten or a full-grown cat when we got her? She was a kitten, maybe a month or two old. But she had been born out in the wild. The story goes that she walked up to Jen and was insistent, and Jen, followed her, and she took Jen back to the little hole that she'd made for herself and was living in. And Jen was like, oh, no, come home with us. And brought her home, and I was away that weekend. And I got a text saying that we had a cat. And I was like, huh. And I got home and fell in love with the cat instantly. And the cat distribution chose her to be a conduit. Lockpick said my cat got out once and came home with 2 squirrels. That's a good hunter right there. Chose Jen to be her conduit. Well, I mean, Jen lives here. Deadpan Dog is Jen's dog. He just happens to hang out with me a lot. I'm his other human. Much like Jen is Death Kitty's other human. Although they are at odds with each other a lot of the time. Much as teenagers are at odds with their moms. Even though the Mains was a little bigger than me, I did not run away. I stood up to him by not fighting him, which scared him more. I'm not entirely sure how this worked. He was like, okay, look, I'm a karate guy, black belt. He was like, why don't we settle this in the ring where there are rules and everything will be... I looked at him dead in the face. I'm like, no, because I am not. And if I face you, I'm fighting for fear of my life, which means I am not going to fight nice. I'm going to have to kill you. And he was like, I believe you. And now I'm actually afraid of you. And I was like, good. The feeling is mutual. Yeah, Wow, I haven't thought about that story in a long time. This one time in Ithaca, whatever story follows that opener is going to be wild. There's one story where the moral of this story is... Oh, Lockpick says, I was a small guy growing up, and I get what you're saying. When anyone wanted to get into it, I went into survival mode, not just tough guy mode. Things got ugly real fast. Yeah. In one of my first schoolyard fights, I almost bit a dude's thumb off. I mean, he was punching me in the back of my head with the other hand. And as I'm starting to bite on his thumb harder and he's punching me in the back of the head, he goes, we can call it a draw here. I was like, oh, hi. It's a draw here. Cat said, and probably best not recorded. Yeah. Later on, that guy, from what I know, from what I've heard, he's been in prison in South Carolina for a long time. I think for not managing to kill a guy in a knife fight. I think it was attempted murder. He's definitely in jail for stabbing someone in a knife fight, or in prison for stabbing someone in a knife fight. Yeah, I'm one of the few guys in the town that really got into it with Eddie, and he was like, I'm not gonna fuck with this dude again. Oh, I dropped the F-bomb. It was an intense story. It was an intense moment. Well, that means that I can't drop the F-bomb anymore this week. And I had to maintain my self-imposed PG-13 rating. Yeah, he was, that kid was a nasty piece of work, but after that, we were friends. Until I went goth. At which point, most of the kids around Gordonsville were like, "No, you're too intense for us." That whole crew of kids that he ran with was like, "You know what? We're good." So, yeah, deep lore stories, huh? Yeah. Well, somewhat. I mean, at the time, oddly enough, at the time, it would have been a step back because they were playing full-on Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition with turns out. I found this out years later that they were a bunch of geeks who thought that I was too cool to hang out with them. Meanwhile, I'm scraping together half-hearted attempts at D&D. I think, well, because Kat says the one piece of editing you have to do this week, change words to fudge. I think I can leave it in there. YouTube doesn't mind the one F-bomb. Partially because I would do that. I would do that, but I don't care to. I really don't care to do that level of editing. For those of you on YouTube who are watching this, Lockpick said just put in a duck noise. That's what those duck noises were in aid of. The sound of duck fun. Cat said yes, lots of quacks. Lockpick says, I've seen a few who just put small quack over any swearing. Lockpick says, I think Trevor is broken. Somebody needs to turn him off and back on again. Deadpan Dog is really confused about all of this. Weren't you, buddy? The heck? Cat says, no, this is just him. He'll finish buffering in a moment. And see, Lockpick, you think you bring chaos. What it is you just stir up the chaos that's already here, waiting to happen. And moving on to something also from the RNS. A feud over... All right. Serious face. Also from RNS, a feud over a coffee maker and Christmas decor leads to another Southern Baptist lawsuit. From the article, a feud between a Southwestern Baptist seminary and its former president appears headed for federal court. Lawyers for Adam Greenway, who resigned as president of Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in September 2022, alleged in a complaint filed Wednesday, March 20th, that the school and the chair of its trustee board defamed Greenway, violated the terms of a non-disparagement agreement, and made him, quote, unemployable. The complaint filed this week alleges that leaders at Southwestern, one of six Southern Baptist seminaries, released incomplete and misleading details about the school's finances that painted Greenway in a negative light. Among those details were alleged purchase of an $11,000 espresso machine and more than $1.5 million in renovations to Pecan Manor, the school's on-campus presidential residence, including $60,000 in Christmas decorations. To be fair, the bulk of the $140 million in overspending had happened during a span of 20 years, mostly before he had taken over as president. And the report showing this did not state why that trend was allowed to go on for so long, but the amount spent for a coffee maker was a little out there. Although I suppose if it's a coffee maker designed to make coffee for a huge amount of people at a time, it would be worth it. It is a gathering place for a bunch of Baptists, right? Quote, in February 2023, the school and Greenway signed a confidential settlement aimed at ending the conflict between the two parties. The school agreed to pay Greenway $229,500 to repost his sermons as president online and return books to his missing recliner, if it could be found. Return books and his missing recliner, if it could be. Man's missing a chair. Greenway promised to return films from his time as president and give up any future rights to legal action against the school. Leaders at Southwestern also gave up future rights to sue. Each side agreed not to make any false and disparaging statements about the other. They also agreed to issue a statement saying their disagreement was settled amicably. From what it sounds like about this guy, they didn't make him unemployable. The man is unemployable. It just sounds like they pointed out that he's unemployable. And last of all, throwing this in because of the attempted pun from AP News. The White House expects 40,000 participants at its education-themed annual Easter egg roll. Kat says, I disavow all punctuation errors, save those were... I disavow all punctuation errors. Those were direct quotes from the story. Yes, I am aware. Which is why I go through with them. You can see how un-egg-cited I am for this. But let's do it. Let's dig in and get deviled. From the article, Jill Biden, a teacher for more than 30 years, is transforming an annual tradition first held in 1878 into an egg-ucational experience. Various stations on the South Lawn and Ellipse will help children learn about farming, healthier eating, and exercise, and more. The White House announced Thursday Monday's extravaganza will be the third Easter egg roll hosted by President Joe Biden and the First Lady, who still teaches English and writing in a Northern Virginia community college. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I know what the community colleges up there are like. I'm so sorry. They did not host the event in 2021, Biden's first year in office, because of the unfortunate situation. The White House Easter egg roll dates back to 1878 when President Rutherford B. Hayes opened the White House lawn to children after they were kicked off the grounds of the U.S. Capitol. A note from the Peanut Gallery, also the head of our pun in the oven department. The thought is exhausting. Is that what you get for poaching a story? That left me feeling scrambled and fried. I'm so sorry, friends. I don't know why I do this. Someone asked me recently if these just pop into my head, these jokes. Actually, two people asked me on separate occasions. And I said, yes, my intrusive thoughts are jokes. They aren't dangerous. My intrusive thoughts aren't dangerous. The voices in my head don't tell me to do dangerous things. They all sound like me, and they're all telling bad jokes. And what they encourage me to do is continue to tell bad jokes. So either I'm a Batman villain, or I'm a stand-up comedian. I guess the options could be worse. I'll take stand-up comedian. There's marginally less time in jail involved in that. And now we've reached the portion of the show where it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for joining us, friends, for this, another episode, this special edition, religious idiocy. I am, have been, and hopefully will be again your host, Trevor Stewart 1308. And as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all. Don't forget to stick around for the raid. Lockpick says, enjoyable time as always, brother. Thank you for showing up, Lockpick. You're always, always welcome here. You add a touch of what's the opposite of class. Love you, Lockpick. Love all of you guys. We'll see you on the next one.